Senior Years Learning and Teaching, Assessment Task 1, Subject to Area Design, LIN staff. The purpose of this presentation is to demonstrate my ability to plan learning experiences, enact those planned learning experiences, respond to feedback, and justify my pedagogical choices. 4 exemplar lesson plans that address literacy or numeracy, higher order questioning strategies, pedagogical content knowledge, and information and communication technologies to enhance learning demonstrate my ability to plan effective learning experiences. The following 4 lesson plans are designed for Year 11 design students undertaking the design general subject as prescribed by the Design Senior Syllabus 2019 from the Queensland Curriculum and Assessment Authority. Lesson 1 concentrates on literacy, one of the 3 skill sets, along with numeracy and 21st century skills that underpin the senior syllabuses. To quote from the syllabus, literacy is the set of knowledge and skills about language and text essential for understanding and conveying design content. In this lesson, the literacy focus is on developing students' design vocabulary to communicate effectively with each other as they work collaboratively on design projects and to convey design ideas and concepts to a variety of external stakeholders. To achieve this, students begin their own design glossary, where they write down definitions of key terms into their books. This glossary will be continually added to during the course of the unit and act as a valuable resource for students. The lesson is based on Unit 1, Design in Practice, Topic 1, Experiencing Design. It is an introductory lesson focused on the design process and the breadth of design professions. The lesson objectives are: define what design is in 1 to 2 sentences. List several types of design professions. Identify and describe the 4 elements of the double diamond design process. Explain what convergent and divergent thinking processes are. Learning activities include exploring the definition of design from a variety of sources, a short video, their own prior knowledge, and the design syllabus, and comparing and contrasting those concepts. Learners find out about the double diamond design process via a PowerPoint and short videos. Students will evidence their learning through participation in a class mind map activity, class discussion, small group work, and exit ticket activity. Lesson 2 centers on higher order thinking strategies, with students using the Scamper creative thinking tool to practice divergent thinking. The lesson connects to the syllabus curriculum for Unit 1, Design in Practice. Unit objectives: to devise ideas using divergent thinking strategies in response to design problems in the develop phase, and represent ideas using informal ideation sketching. It also emphasizes the 21st century skill of creative thinking, where students learn to innovate and identify new ways of doing things and opportunities to reimagine products, services, and environments. The lesson objectives are to devise ideas using Scamper creative thinking strategy to redesign objects, and demonstrate informal conceptual ideation sketching to represent mental images of ideas generated using Scamper. For the Scamper activity, students are randomly allocated a common item and then use the Scamper thinking tool to generate ideas on possible alternate uses for them. The Scamper activity is scaffolded with Scamper help cards that can be used by students as a prompt to further their divergent thinking with questions and examples. At the end of the lesson, learners complete an exit ticket activity that asks them to reflect on how the use of a thinking tool, such as Scamper, can help designers to think in different ways. Lesson 3 is an exemplar for pedagogical content knowledge. In design, problem-based learning is the overarching pedagogical framework. Problem-based learning incorporates open-ended design problems, collaboration, and teamwork, with a teacher as facilitator or guide. The lesson is linked to Curriculum Unit 1, Design in Practice. Unit objectives. Devise ideas using divergent thinking strategies in response to design problems. Represent ideas using informal ideation sketching. And analyze needs and wants about stakeholders and design information. Students undertake a simulated design thinking activity to redesign the classroom they are sitting in. This design activity is based on IDEO's redesign the school lunch experience. The learning objectives are for learners to investigate the needs, wants, and opportunities of an identified user in response to a design brief provided by the teacher, and demonstrate using informal conceptual ideation sketching to represent mental images and support the rapid devising and testing of design ideas. Lesson 4 focused on ICTs to enhance learning. Students use ICT to demonstrate the use of digital low-fidelity prototyping to represent design ideas in the develop phase. Using a 3D digital app, students create a prototype of their design to learn how digital prototyping allows a designer to visualize designs and test them against real-world variables. The lesson aligns with Unit 1, Topic 2, with the objective to represent ideas and design concepts using schematic sketching, ideation sketching, and low-fidelity prototyping in the develop phase. The following teacher demonstration illustrates my ability to enact planned learning experience. The demonstration is based on Lesson 1, Introduction to Design, Literacy Focus.
Good morning, Year 11 Design. Welcome to today's lesson, which is called Introduction to Design. So this is one of our very first lessons in Unit 1 of the design syllabus, which is Design in Practice. And the first topic within that unit is called Experiencing Design. But before we jump into the actual design thinking process and designing, we need to grasp an understanding of what design is. So that's what today's lesson is all about. So having a look at our success criteria, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to, 1, write a definition of design, 2, describe the features that define design problems and design criteria, and 3, recall the meaning of selected design vocabulary. Why is this important? Well, firstly, before we design anything, we have to understand, grasp an understanding of what design is. Secondly, when we're developing design solutions, we're constrained by various factors. And we need to have an understanding of what those features or those aspects are that define and constrain our design problems. So these could be things like a budget, getting into economic features. It could be the age group that you're designing for. It could be cultural aspects may impact upon the design solution. So we're going to look at what they are today as well. And then thirdly, in order to communicate design concepts, it's important to comprehend and use design vocabulary. So in today's lesson, we are going to start the glossary of design terms, and we will add to that as the unit goes on. Okay, let's jump straight in to discovering what is design. First, we're going to watch a short YouTube video, and then we're going to look at the definition of design from the Theme Design syllabus. And at the end of the lesson, I'm going to ask you to complete an exit activity slip where you write down 3 dot points in your own words, identifying what design is. So developing that definition of design for yourselves. Okay, firstly, the short YouTube video. I'm going to hand out, they're coming around now to everyone, Post-it notes, so take one and pass it on. You don't need to write your name at the top, but what I do want you to do is get your pens out, and while we're watching this short video, it only goes for a couple of minutes, so you will need to pay attention. While we're watching this short video, write down a minimum of 2 words and phrases that pick up from the video about this idea of what design is. But quite a short inspirational video, if you like, not focusing on any particular design discipline. We're just looking at this design overall. What's the purpose of it? What is it about? Launch into that. Back up to the front. And I'll ask the volunteer. Louisa, thank you. Collect all those at the front. And then also just read out to me from the post-it notes what people have written. And I'm going to create a list on our power slide here from which we will generate the word cloud. So yep, fire away when you're ready. Problem solving, excellent. Understanding. Yes. Curiosity, well done. Fundamental. It is a design technology subject in year 10, food technology, digital tech, ICD. So thinking back to that, are there any other concepts that we can add, ideas on what design is that you remember from last year? So just pop your hands up. Design criteria, well done. Opportunities, needs. Anything else? Sustainability, fantastic. Great, okay, so from this, copy and paste that into the word cloud generator. Then we'll just get that visual representation. Excellent. So we're seeing those ideas coming out, like design is about problem solving, it's about building a better world, about questioning, it's about ideas, about creativity and curiosity, but also being functional and satisfying needs. Now we'll just go on and have a look at the definition of design from the design syllabus. This is where we're going to start our glossary of terms. So if everyone can turn to the back of their books, we need to leave at least 6 pages for this glossary, because we will be adding to it both the weeks of the unit. Make that heading glossary of design terms, and then write down this definition in your books. So we will be breaking it down further, as I realise there are other words that are not common, for example, iterative, logic, what does it mean by technical features. But initially, I just would like everyone to get down this definition, and then we can refer back to it.
In response to my lesson planning and the teacher demonstration, I received feedback from my tutor and also some peers. Firstly, response to tutor feedback on draft lesson plan 1, the literacy focus. Firstly, my tutor was concerned that the lesson the content of the lesson would basically take too much of the time of the lesson and that I would go over. Concerns about completing all the tasks. I've therefore reduced the lesson content by removing 2 topics, types of designers and the design process, to be covered in future lessons. The second feedback was that as the lesson is focused on literacy, I would need to ensure all key and subject specific terms are known to students and their spelling is correct. My response to that was that students will develop their design vocabulary and spelling through the development of their glossary throughout the unit. So it would not only be this lesson, but it continue on throughout the lessons. The third one is to keep in mind in regards to behaviour management that sometimes a well-planned and engaging lesson is not enough. Therefore, I've incorporated the ESCMs into my classroom management plan. And a link to the revised lesson plan can be found on just below there. Secondly is response to peer feedback on my teaching demonstration. The first comment was to make the focus of the lesson clear. So I now state the lesson focus at the start of the lesson that it is literacy based and we will be looking at design vocabulary. Secondly was a comment to incorporate some cultures of thinking to really elaborate on the class mind map word cloud. In response to that, I incorporated a connect, extend, challenge thinking routine to develop what the students' understanding of design is. I also did make the PowerPoint full screen, which will make it easier for students to read. And the last one that was just in regard to some of the other words that I use in the teaching demonstration that students may not be overly familiar with, for example, fundamental. And I would be careful to ensure that I incorporated explanations of the meanings of those words and use them in context as well as the lesson progressed. And again, throughout the unit, just to confirm and reiterate the idea that we are developing our design literacy. And again, you can see the link to the revised teaching demonstration below. Justification of lesson plan 1, the literacy focus. In design, students learn to communicate information, ideas, and design concepts to a variety of audiences. It's therefore important for students to understand and use the subject-specific vocabulary of design. This lesson, conducted early in the first term in Year 11, concentrates on helping students to develop definitions of key design terms. Communication is a 21st century skill that is embedded in the senior curriculum. Students need to acquire good communication skills to prepare them for higher education and the world of work. These include effective oral and written communication using language, symbols, and text, and communicating ideas successfully. Students work collaboratively throughout the design unit and therefore need to communicate with one another to create design solutions. Again, emphasizing the importance of developing good design vocabulary and good communication skills. Justification of lesson plan 2, higher order thinking strategies. Higher order thinking strategies are used in this lesson to develop the 21st century skill of creative thinking. 21st century skills are critical to student success beyond school. Open-ended problems, such as those that are addressed in design, require creative thinking to develop solutions. According to Collins, higher order thinking strategies encourage the development of problem-solving abilities. At the end of the lesson, in an exit ticket activity, students reflect on how using a higher order thinking strategy such as the creative thinking tool Scamper, has helped them to practice divergent thinking. Project Zero of the Harvard Graduate School of Education defines a thinking routine, such as Scamper, as a set of questions or a brief sequence of steps used to scaffold and support student thinking with the aim of nurturing learning, thinking, ethics, intelligence, and creativity. Justification for Lesson Plan 3, Pedagogical Content Knowledge. Problem-based learning uses real-world settings on which to base learning and aims to develop students' collaborative and problem-solving skills. In an overview of studies examining the effectiveness of problem-based learning, Yu and Go concluded that problem-based learning is an effective teaching and learning approach, particularly when it is assessed for the maintenance of long-term knowledge and its applications. The lesson is designed to sit within the problem-based learning pedagogy in that it uses an authentic, open-ended design problem based in the real world. It incorporates collaboration using teamwork and brainstorming, and the teacher scaffolds and facilitates the learning but does not control, allowing for students to maintain independence and responsibility for their learning. Justification for Lesson Plan 4, ICTs to enhance learning. The design syllabus emphasizes 21st century skills, including information and communication technologies, in order to access and analyze information, become productive users of technology, and learn and implement the principles of digital citizenship. In this lesson, students learn how to become productive users of technology. They use ICT as an integrated design tool to create 3D models that students can use in the iterative design process. Evidence from large-scale studies suggests that students' creative thinking can be enhanced when they work collaboratively with access to appropriate digital technologies. In the design industry, computer-aided design and 3D digital modeling are an integral part of the design industry. In conclusion, this presentation is evidence of my addressing the Australian professional standards for teachers at a graduate level. The presentation has shown that I can plan learning experiences, enact those planned learning experiences, respond to feedback, and justify my pedagogical choices. Thank you.